Well, I think I should probably let Julie expand on it. Julie is our special education director, Julie Stevens. Julie, you want to let people know what the tentative plan is?
As far as we had Mark Millay at the high school, the CDS program, retire. We have a half-time CDS teacher at the middle school. We would move that teacher to the high school because most of the students from that program are moving to the high school. And then the middle school, 8th grade special ed teacher we would replace with an elementary special ed teacher, and the speech and language staff would help fill in the holes.
How many are on that staff?
There's 3 speech and language teachers.
What's in the budget for the extracurricular staff that do staff these events and stuff? What's the total expenditures that year for the basketball games and the...
21,000.
I mean, has anybody just thought about making that an all-volunteer? You know, of all the cuts that could be made, that's about as painless as it can, I think, could be. And it maybe be a good gesture to the community that the teachers are volunteering it instead of getting paid for it.
Yeah, we've talked about that a little bit administratively. I haven't spoken to the board at length about that. There are pluses and minuses. One of the pluses to having school staff, at least as supervisors, is that they know the kids and know what to watch for. And it is entirely possible that we could make deeper cuts than that in the supervision and ticket-taking area if possible. And that's also, though, an item that's negotiated into the teacher's contract, and so it would take some agreement.
It would be interesting to, you know, like you said, maybe try some volunteers there to see. I mean, my other concern is the volunteers, yeah, they have to show up. You know,
well, we do have good booster clubs for a lot of our sports, and if people sign up with a booster club, they generally show up, and so that is a viable option.
Did we look at all about increasing fees on it?
No, we did not look at increasing fees. It remains out there, but
I don't know that it would make it, you know, looking at the cuts we need to make, it would make it, you know, a huge difference. And I don't know, where are we with our fees? Have we ever looked at those? I know we've done that in the past.
Our athletic fees are, for the Heart of the North, they're among the highest.
They are.
Yeah, they are. Yes, good.
I noticed some of your cuts seem reasonable, and I don't think they have much of a direct effect on the quality of the education for our kids. But it's obvious where you lose a teacher, that does have an effect on the education of our kids. Do these proposed cuts, are these supported by the teachers, or conversely, did the teachers come up with this idea? And if the answer to that is no, I personally think they should be asked what they would be willing to do in order to preserve as many teachers as possible, because that's really the bottom line here. You know, again, and I think I already said it, but there are some line items I don't think anyone would disagree with. But teachers, losing teachers is certainly a direct assault upon the kids. And I think the teachers, since they're the ones affected and the kids are affected, they should have to say and try and come up with something that might preserve that. For example, and I know that the state is having problems in Madison. I don't think we're fairly funded, obviously, but that's a different problem. The teachers are on the verge of losing some bargaining rights and possibly a bigger contribution to their health and pension plans. However, and that's an uncertain issue right now. They still are in a better position to decide for themselves what if anything, they can do to, if anything, to retain those teachers. One example, and I'm certainly in favor of teachers. It might be to add up the amount of salary you propose on saving by the cutting of 6 or 7 positions and spreading it around to each and every staff member in the district, saying we will make that up by, for example, reducing something in the pay structure. And it's a more novel, it's more radical, but maybe it's something the teachers would rather have than losing positions, where they're going to lose a course entirely and never get it back, or be burdened by having to pick up the slack anyhow. So that's my question. Have you presented this to the teachers insofar as the loss of teacher positions?
This has not been presented to the teachers. What I'm asking for the board tonight is to approve preliminary layoff notices and layoff notices for teachers, not to approve this budget proposal. This is a preliminary proposal and still has plenty of time to be worked through. And even if they were to approve of preliminary layoff notices and layoff notices, if things were to change, those layoff notices could be rescinded and teachers recalled. The reason that we're doing this now is because we're under the gun by a statute. If layoff notices are to be given, they have to be given by Monday.
But you hope that you make the teachers a part of the
Well,
equation. Please.
Yeah,
Part
I
of it just
understand.
as the parents are, and just as the community is. We're all partners. And if we're not even partners, it all goes away.
But on the other hand, if we have fewer students, at some point you have fewer teachers. That's the point that we've come to. Yes.
I think on the other hand, too, though, it's not as easy as just asking the teachers, are you all willing to do this? There's a union that represents the teachers, and obviously we've all been hearing too much about unions across the board right now. But there's leadership and there's a process through that needs to be approached, and that's the route that the teachers get to have their say in this. So there's a whole lot of other steps that need to be considered and taken into play, not just asking the teachers, are you willing to do more, or are you willing to have your salary cut some so that everyone can keep their jobs. So,
Yeah, I would say, actually, we do that every time we negotiate with the teachers and with the union, on what, everyone's willing to give. So it's not something that's not done, but it's done through a process. And I would also comment that, the teachers are going to get hit hard as it is in the next year, with what we've got laid out. So I really do think not replacing some of these retirements are, probably the best way to go. And it looks, and again, we've got some more work to do. That the administration has been working on this for days and days. They've been locked in rooms trying to figure this out. To do this with as few layoffs as possible, and with cutting and affecting the programs as little as possible. And I'm, pretty. Happy is not the right word, but impressed with what they were able to come up with and bring forward to us.
I think especially when we had our last meeting, we talked about possibilities of maybe like 10 to 15 layoffs. So this
You have
will make
to
it.
remember that we have, I've got 6 more retirements
Yeah.
here, and